Whether in a hospital environment or anywhere in the community, deaf people agree. Hearing people can do their part by asking preferred form of communication and practicing patience. As of right now, we do know that one adult male was shot and died here at this Wawa last night. Well, Lisa, right now we know there were no students on the bus at the time of the crash. We also know that both the driver of the bus and the semi-truck were taken to the hospital with injuries. They say when they arrived here this morning, this apartment building behind me was up in flames coming from the roof. I am joined by Gilchrist County Sheriff Bobby Schultz. Thank you so much for being here this morning, and I know it's been a very busy week. You're here early sweeping the school. Tell me about the precautions you're taking. Sometimes big ideas have small beginnings. Take Gatorade, for example. It was created in this very lab and now it lines the shelves of almost every grocery store. We are shaking our feathers here this morning on the morning show. From Godzilla vs. Kong to Mortal Kombat, there's plenty of movies to choose from as theaters begin reopening tonight, but one was produced by a man who lives right here in North Central Florida, 98-year-old Lawrence Joffe. Lisa, I don't even know how we got to this point, but yes, I am completely elfed out, but it's all part of the fun. Afterwards, students can watch it back and learn from their mistakes and successes. Airport officials tell me they expect this trend to continue throughout the holiday weekend and summer. They credit a strong pent-up demand for travel, leading to fuller flights. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amber Pellicone. A Gainesville man is in jail after being accused of stealing jet skis and a trailer from an empty lot.
Deaf people across North Central Florida are faced with communication barriers on a daily basis. But TV20's Amber Pellicone tells us how in extreme cases, this could mean life or death. Imagine being out at lunch with a deaf colleague when he suddenly has a heart attack. You rush with him to UF Health Shands, only to find once you arrive, he has no way to communicate. 8 hours later, an interpreter arrives.
Infuriating is the best word that I can use to describe it.
Experiencing this firsthand is what inspired research fellow Tyler James to bring the communication challenges deaf people are faced with in medical environments to light.
We don't want to make a patient who's already sick jumping through more hoops just to understand their basic medical information.
11 deaf or hard of hearing people from North Central Florida who primarily use American Sign Language to communicate were interviewed. Their experiences at UF Health Shands and North Florida Regional Medical Center were all alike. If an interpreter was not available, a video remote interpreting device would be provided, which often wouldn't work. Doctors would then resort to speaking to the deaf patient or writing notes back and forth.
I rarely go to the doctor myself because of the traumatic experiences that I've had across Florida.
Yari Santiago recalls a time she waited 3 months for an appointment, only for it to be rescheduled due to there being no working VRI device or interpreter available.
During the pandemic, I've had some pain that I wanted to get checked out. I debated long and hard about whether to see the doctor, and I put off that appointment and just waited for the pain to subside by itself.
What would you like to see change?
I think training, education, exposure is a big factor. How to approach deaf people, different resources, for example, interpreters that are available.
Whether in a hospital environment or anywhere in the community, deaf people agree. Hearing people can do their part by asking preferred form of communication and practicing patience. Amber Pellicone, TV 20 News.
Of course, there will be plenty of soda and buttery popcorn for everyone as several Regal theaters reopen today. But what about the big screen? TV20's Amber Pellicone is joining us live from Celebration Point to tell us what moviegoers can expect coming back.
Lisa, from Godzilla vs. Kong to Mortal Kombat, there's plenty of movies to choose from as theaters begin reopening tonight, but one was produced by a man who lives right here in North Central Florida, 98-year-old Lawrence Joffe.
Well, I believe it's a miracle.
The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is a faith-based movie following a girl with a special gift, and it's the first movie Mr. Joffe has ever worked on.
I started a new career at 92, and I never thought I'd be in the movie business. Once I got into it, I was enamored by it. It is a fascinating business.
Mr. Joffe pulled together funds for the film and was responsible for overseeing the production and administration. Now, 6 years later, he says he's in heaven seeing it all come together.
I've seen it 4 times now, and I'm still not tired of it. It's that kind of a movie, actually. I have friends who are just a little younger than I am, in their 90s, and when they talk about what they accomplished in their previous life. They look backward. I've got something I'm looking forward to.
And what's next for Mr. Jaffe? Well, he's not ready to dim the lights just yet.
You're never too old to start something new and to be successful.
He's ready for a take 2 and 3 and 4, as he has 3 other films in the works.
It's a joy. Every day I get up, I look forward to what's going to happen that day, and I expect that to continue.
And Mr. Jaffe tells me he's looking forward to watching the movie for a 5th time, this time in theaters right here in Gainesville. Reporting live in Celebration Point, Amber Pellicone, TV 20 News.
Retail spaces located on the first floor of apartments in Gainesville sit empty, and that's according to a University of Florida College of Business study. TV 20's Amber Pellicone tells us how this issue is affecting property values. Amber, good morning.
Well, Lisa, I asked pedestrians here underneath the Standard apartment complex here in Gainesville whether or not they take advantage of the retail located on the first floor, and they agree you can't beat the convenience.
We live close to this area, so it's very helpful for us to have these stores close by.
If you don't have a car, this is great.
But the numbers on the retail tenants' receipts aren't matching up. After, quote, years of underperforming sales, the Target on Northwest 13th Street will be permanently closing its doors on June 11th.
I've spoken to several people who say they'd like to stop at this Target, but they're in their car, the parking is very difficult, they don't want to pay for parking, and so they choose not to.
UF College of Business Research Director Bill Hughes participated in a study looking into the effectiveness of these spaces. He says the issue nationwide is the lack of pedestrian traffic.
So now we see this down on other streets that are less active than this street and not right across the street from campus. Turns out the pedestrian traffic is too light.
Consequently, 4 lease signs decorate the windows of these vacant spaces. Hughes says 4 of the 6 mixed-use student housing properties near UF have dealt with empty storefronts since opening.
We're aware of one building that has not had a retail tenant in the 10 years that the building has existed.
So why continue building these spaces? The city of Gainesville requires these types of mixed-use developments as an attempt to increase pedestrian traffic and enhance neighborhood aesthetic.
Hopefully people will be evaluating this and deciding that there may be another choice that we could try.
And Hughes says alternatives could include adding anything between more residential units on the first floor and other amenities like more parking. We want to know your thoughts on the effectiveness of these properties. We have a pull-up on our website, WCJB.com. Reporting live in Gainesville, Amber Pellicone, TV 20 News.
Amber, thank you.
That's right. We are here in the splatter room, kind of the heart of Pinspiration. You can see all the color. We've got the get-up, the whole 9 yards. Catherine Osman, the owner, is joining me this morning. So kids are getting out of school. Summer is basically here. So tell me, this is a great escape. What can kids do here? So tell me about the resources these types of threats take. I mean, especially Gilchrist County being such a small agency, you say.
Well, I tell people all the time.
That's right, and it is Friday Eve. We are shaking our feathers here this morning on the morning show. That's right, Lisa, the lights are shining bright. We just took a trip on the Christmas train, Daryl and I, and now we're here, stopped at the grand finale area. So once you make it to this point, what does it look like? So Polo, as a performer yourself, you say it takes a lot of practice getting ready for tonight's show. I mean, what is it that we have going on behind us?